Everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. Today I have Game 6 for you from the US Masters, where I face off against Jeff Schiltgen and his Varangur. Gonna do a little bit different setup today for the battle report. We'll still do all the same, commentary as before, but I wanted to dive a little bit more into pregame analysis specifically, and discuss a little more in depth some things that maybe I've taken for granted, something that some people have asked for. So I figured this would be a great game to do it. So let's go ahead, dive into lists, and we'll start that analysis and get into the battle report. So Jeff Schulken was taking his Varangur army. He has 4 regiments of Draugr, a regiment of Hearthguard, a horde of Fallen, a horde of Snow Trolls with Chalice, and a horde with Dwarven Ale. He has Magnild. He then has 3 Thanes on Frostfangs, 3 Snow Troll Primes, and Krufnir. That brings him out to 16 drops, 27 unit strength. So definitely the most drops and most unit strength in those drops that we've seen up to this point. Um, so this is where we're gonna take a little bit more time to discuss. So how does this match up against my army? Um, and to really kind of understand that, and for anybody that's trying to improve their game with their own list, is you first have to comprehend and understand your army, specifically around strength and weaknesses. So, does it fight well? Does it shoot well? Does it contribute well in all these phases? Does it play certain scenarios better than others? How does it interact with certain pieces of terrain? And how can you manage that throughout the game to make sure that you're getting an advantage versus your opponent? So, knowing your army is only half the battle. Obviously, it's also understanding your opponent's list. So, for example, my army, it fights very well, but it requires an engagement that I dictate, and me getting the flank charges. My army does not go well head to head against anybody. So, understanding those things and manipulating them. So the second part of understanding your army is understanding your opponent's army, and you're never or should never understand your opponent's army better than they understand it. But if you can get, kind of the spark notes of their army, looking at Jeff's list, for example, he has a lot of scoring 50 millimeter characters. So he's going to be fighting very well in tight spaces with that nimble and being able to get into positions that a lot of other armies aren't able to take advantage of. So he fights well in kind of the tight, close corridors. Um, but weakness or potential weakness of Jeff's army is he has no range shooting at all. So no spells, no buffs from range, no threat from that range. So Jeff's army has to go and fight the opponent's army in order to get the attrition to win out in the end. Both of our armies, I would say, have a very good amount of drops, and especially scoring drops. Because Jeff, with his 16 drops, 15 of those scores, Magnild being the only individual. So I would say Jeff's normally has a strength with his army in a lot of scenarios because of that scoring advantage. But in this particular matchup, I actually have 2 more units that score than Jeff. So my list, we're sitting at 17 drops and 28 unit strength. So seeing a lot of these things, able to identify where you're stronger than your opponent in the list aspect of it, um, helps me at least identify a game plan and try to execute a game plan around those strengths and try to minimize those weaknesses. So all of this in the end revolves around the scenario and the terrain you're playing on. So for Masters here in the game against Jeff, we're going to be playing Control. For those that don't know, Masters starts with a pool of voted on scenarios. It eliminates some from the book. So we've narrowed down 8 scenarios that are possible at Masters. In the last game, there's only 3 possibilities left. So those 3 would have been Control, Push, and Plunder. Or, yeah, Plunder, the 5 tokens across the center. So the 2 loot token scenarios in Push and Plunder, I think I lose a little bit of an advantage that I otherwise would have had. One, having a larger number of scoring units in the 2 token scenarios isn't always, or is a less of an advantage in my mind. Um, Push a little bit less so because you can only control 1 token per unit, but Plunder especially, it lessens the impact of the extra scoring units that I have. And 2, my army, one of the strengths of my army is the Wind Blast mechanic. And especially in this matchup against Jeff, I have higher range with even just a little bit of lightning bolt that I'm providing, but I especially can manipulate the board using Wind Blast. So that is a key factor that I would lose out on in the 2 loot token scenarios. By him simply just carrying a token, I won't be able to push around some of those units. So I we got Control for the last scenario. That's a big win for me. Out of the 3, I think Control most favors me in this particular head-to-head match. So I got lucky with that. And then being able to identify that's my most advantageous, I'm going to try to utilize my strengths here. So the fact that I have more units with unit strength, even if it's just 2, the fact that I have range, and the fact that I have Wind Blast, which is normally good, but it is exceptionally good when it's a scenario like Control, where a unit has to be in a specific zone in order to contribute. So a way to, I mean, basic strategy with that is if they're in a particular portion of the board you don't want them in, and you have the bottom of the turn, you can push them to a different board portion of the board. Or even if you don't have bottom of the turn, you potentially could push them in such a way that they don't have the maximum movement available to get where they ultimately wanted to go. So that is my biggest advantage in the matchup with my list in particular. I would say Control and Pillage are the top 2 scenarios for my army, especially if I can go second in those games. Because going at the bottom of the turn, I'm able to answer everything my opponent's done. They've laid their cards face up on the table, and now I'm able to match up directly against those, utilizing Wind Blast, just piling on with more unit strength into a certain area that's needed. So that that hopefully gives players a little bit more insight into my thought process going into the game and how I build strategies around my strengths. So I'm going to kind of come back to those thoughts during the game, during deployment, things like that. But hopefully that was a little bit of a helpful insight. Hopefully didn't take too long and lose too many people. But we're going to go ahead and get right into the game now. For those that watched, I did not take pictures, so I'm just taking this straight off of the counter charge live that occurred. So this is my, I am on the bottom and Jeff Schiltgen is on the top here in this. So we're not going to watch just the stream. I'm going to fast forward and everything, but I'm going to talk probably while it's going on. So here, uh, we're in the middle of deployment. Um, I just I usually deploy my hordes first. They usually try to take open lanes so that they can move and get control of the field. Jeff won roll off for sides. He chose the top over here. Um, and I think I would have preferred the top if I had a choice, but that is okay. This side I think is better for offensive shooting capabilities because he can't benefit from the forest for cover. So I can just maneuver around these hills, which uh, terrain is a couple hills in the left center, right center, the flat or height one here in the very center and top, impassables top left and right middle, obstacles jetting off that, and then forests are on my center and left center of the board. So, um, yeah, so deployment wise, Jeff's been playing this army for a little bit, but I haven't played against him, and I haven't actually observed any of the games that he's played. I've since the event gone back. I watched the day two stream throughout to just see some games on my flight home, and I noticed that it looks like Jeff does a similar or same deployment style in most of his games, um, which is perfectly fine. But it was something that I wasn't 100% prepared for. I believe I answered it fairly well, but it did take me a little bit of time early on to recognize how to play against it efficiently. So Jeff deploys his army. He's got all these regiment bases are his Draugr. He has the Fury Trolls on the left, Headstrong Trolls in the center, and Hearthguard here on the left. He has a Snow Troll, Snow Troll, Snow Troll. And then it looks like what Jeff does is he deploys all of that flank first, and then he drops everything that's going right now onto our right flank. So it was a little bit surprising. Lucky for me, he deployed first. I have a couple more drops, so it's not something that I couldn't answer or couldn't adjust to, but it was definitely yeah, definitely something I just wasn't expecting. So my deployment on the starting from the left, I did a regiment of scarecrows just sitting behind this forest. I'm thinking that they're hopefully just gonna score in this bottom left of the board. I have a triple stack here. This is the J boot unit, I believe, on the far left. I have what are they called? Butcher here. I have the Dread Fiend here. That's the Trickster's Wand Dread Fiend, so it's not going to hex anything this turn, um, or this game. I have another triple stack here. This is Helm of the Drunken Ram in the center of the board. I put both my Mind Screeches in the forest in the middle because these height 1 pieces of terrain do not provide cover uh, for anybody behind it or even in it because I'm height 4. So as long as I stick my nose out of this forest, no cover. Um, the another butcher, blade of slashing, dread fiend. I have another stack over here. This is the blood of the old king unit. I did adjust my deployment slightly, thinking that if I get first turn, I was going to maneuver a little bit differently to try and block off anything coming around this impassable. But don't have to worry about that because I did not get first turn. And then I have the Portal of Despair on the far right. So rolling off for first turn, and Jeff won the roll for first turn, and he chose to go first. So what that tells me is a couple things. One, Jeff either believes his strengths and his army is alpha, going first, taking the control of the board, taking control of the game, and forcing the engagements quickly in order to remove my unit strength. Um, because I talking about this earlier on, I believe my biggest strength with my army is the fact that control is one of the best scenarios for me, and going at the bottom of the turn is crucially good. Uh, Combination of wind blast, combination of having more units and unit strength than my opponents, I can take take a big advantage out of that, right? So Jeff, either values his strength more or doesn't appreciate the weakness that his army currently has in the scenario. So it's a key thing to identify. Now, Jeff going second, I I don't know if it's actually better because again, I can theorize my understanding of Jeff's army, but Jeff's played that army a lot more and has a lot better understanding. I'm taking the spark notes of what I think his strengths and weaknesses are, and I'm taking the full understanding of my list as I know it, and going from there. So I think that it doesn't come down to Jeff going first or second as a game changer. I'm simply saying I feel like I have an advantage going second. And knowing that and seeing Jeff push up aggressively here on this flank, I'm going to try and play towards my advantage, which is ultimately going to be to delay the engagements. The more units I have at the end of the game, the more opportunities I have to win the game. That's my mindset. So we're gonna kind of go through here pretty quick. Jeff's turns are pretty quick because he has no shooting and there's no combat early on. So on the right hand side, my mindset is delay. Um, and on the left hand side, if he wants to start an engagement over there, uh, I think that's okay for me at this point because I have the units to be able to threaten him and to flank him. So he doesn't want to lose those hammer units, and I have more out on the left than he does currently, but I'm slowly redirecting that here on turn one. Um, so you'll see major movements here is just pushing up, taking a little bit more control of the field. Basically, I'm saying if you come across the center line, which he will eventually have to in control, I'm gonna have something here for you to threaten you. But on the right hand side, it's a completely different story. I just backed up everything. I am redirecting my Butcher Flesh Ripper from the left into the center. I'm utilizing the hill here and the height variable to allow this butcher to get a better positioning and also threaten Jeff if he comes into my units over here. He outnumbers me heavily, um, and it's not going to be pretty if he engages me right now. I'm going to definitely lose stuff and likely lose the flank if he can get there fast enough. But my thought process is I'm going to try to discourage him and show that I have flanks if he goes in. Um, and so again, my thought is delay, delay. So best way to delay at this point is to position in such a way that he's going to be punished if he charges me. Um, and yeah, so you'll notice the card for inspiring. It really doesn't matter in this game. Jeff has 8 inspiring units that are all wanting to just run at me and just jam into me. So the inspiring token really doesn't matter this game. But I position in such a way in the middle. I got some lightning bolt onto the Draugr regiment. Again, my thought is the more units I have versus Jeff at the end of the game, the better I'm off. Uh, and units in the center, you'll see he's heavily on the left, he's heavily on the right. The center is kind of the light area. So if I can remove units from the center, that's potentially less units in the most important control zones at the end of the game. So that's my first target with the lightning bolts. So just moving up aggressively on the left, which I don't hate. I think if I commit into his lines, it's bad for me. I think if he commits heavily into my lines, it's bad for him. So it's probably going to be more of a stalemate situation. So that that is fine for me. That works in my advantage for my overall game plan, right? So, um, yeah. So all the angles are checked. Everything's good to go. Uh, yeah. So on the right, we're just looking to avoid Magnild, which I don't know if my head's in the way. But Magnild's down here. That's who is going to really cause us a headache in our backfield. I do not want Magnild to ever touch a Tormentor troop because she will likely just pick it up in one go. Um, Soul Flares are a little bit tougher, and I'm never going to actually hold her down or chase her down, so I'm just not going to look at her probably ever. Um, Not bothering trying to lightning bolt her or anything like that, so it's just a nuisance that we have to play around. So here, this turn, I felt like my positioning is key. It's very crucial because on the right, I feel like I'm definitely getting back down into a corner here. I don't have much more room to back up. He's going to be able to engage me, and it's not going to be pretty. Um, if he does so at this current moment, so I need to buy myself time, get the positioning I need, everything like that. Um, so yeah, fast forward here, but moving. The big thing I felt like I did this turn is two things. One, I move this butcher into a dead zone, where the only thing that could see him is this horde of fallen, out of front arc here and over here, out of front arc there. So the Horde of Fallen can charge him. But if we do the math, Horde of Fallen, 18 attacks on threes, he gets 12 hits, defense 5 to crush 1, so he gets 6 wounds. I'm a 13, 15, he needs a 9 twice, is the average. So I'm perfectly fine with that. The idea, though, is that him charging there, it draws the unit towards the center, which is closer to the units that I that I need to have help. I feel like if he just goes straight at my right flank, I'm just going to lose my right flank. So I want to distract him. I also get my butcher into a an ideal position, effectively, where he's not able to advance up like he was before. If he just wants to, take those fallen, hone them straight up against my horde of scarecrows, he's gonna get flanked. He can't block that off. He could maybe try to utilize one of his guys to sit in front of me, block some line of sight. But I have, 3 units over here that are effectively doing that job of boxing him into the corner and punishing him if he just goes straight forward here. So with that movement of the butcher, I've positioned myself where this butcher can oversee him. This dread fiend can oversee that as well, and these soul flares can oversee. So not only am I putting him in a position that is going to be beneficial, I'm covering him when he either gets charged, or making it to where if he gets charged, it's going to be a benefit to me. Um, so you see there the shooting was effective. 2 turns of lightning bolt, so effectively 24 lightning bolt into Draugr unit was enough to pick it off. Um, I was the the charge here was a little ambitious and definitely not something I needed to do. I could have just simply positioned myself in such a way that his I don't crest the hill essentially. and I either keep his Draugr up on the hill by moving forward, and if they charge, they're just not hitting any, not getting off the hill, or I could have just stayed where I was. Honestly, I don't hate it. Um, I think the Draugr pushing forward though is an interesting choice. My army doesn't do front to front combat extremely well, so these units like the Hearthguard, the trolls, I'm not looking to charge them in the front or even double charge them in the front. I'm looking for them to commit and then me to flank. That's how I feel like I kill those units. So Jeff utilizing his units as blockers and preventing double charges and things like that um, is in my mind a benefit because again my game plan is I want to remove his unit strength. I want to remove the easy unit strength. These Draugr, if he had one sitting in the back right corner, sitting in the top center, sitting in the back left, like that's tough for me because those are three sections that are very hard for me to or much harder for me to overcome versus if he comes forward and we just slap fight with scarecrows on Draugr, which are basically the same thing. I have hordes to his regiments, and I eventually win that. So, um, but anyway, so I do want to call out a mistake I made here in my shooting phase. Yeah. So right here, so I charged this unit with the the angle that it's in here. I charged this unit with the look of one. I was wind blasting this back, so it wasn't able to get in range to charge. This unit's hindered being on the obstacle. So what? And this unit can't pivot around its own unit to hit me. I don't even know if it can see me, but it definitely can't pivot to hit me. So the only things that's charging me, my horde here, if I kill this, I think this unit's in range, but they're going to be hindered. So hitting on fives. This unit's hindered in the flank, so that's like 4 hits. And then this unit here, which is also like 4 hits. So this horde has a really good chance of living. And then, he's exposed one of his key units at that point, right? So that was why I did this charge. But then you'll see we just play. I decided for some reason that this unit is going to wind blast that unit. And, well, looky there. I gave him the ability to charge now next turn. So that was a key mistake. So wind blast is a great tool when it's used properly. When used poorly like that, you're going to give your opponents things that they otherwise wouldn't have had. So yeah, got to call out those clear mistakes when they happen here. So um, anyway, so Jeff's turn. He does do the big charge into the horde here because yeah, he's gonna be able to kill it now and then position efficiently after that. He's sacrificing his Draugr. I'm to get rid of horde, so he's sacrificing 2 unit strength here to get rid of 3. It's a good trade for him. Definitely something to do. So he did charge the butcher over here, but he did so in position in such a way that he's going to block his own flanks. So um, that's a good move. Protect the fallen. But in all that positioning, the thing that Jeff did not realize or address is the horde of soul flares in the center here. Not only are they in range to charge the fallen, Krufnir here is actually facing towards my butcher, and they're in the front arc of Krufnir. So I think this is definitely one of those where it looks good until that is actually on the table. If that flank wasn't there, this is a great move. Very well played. Nothing I can really do to truly counteract that. So, but giving up, giving up a flank to Krufnir is not, it's just not going to work out effectively. Now is applying more pressure on the right hand side here. So he did pop fly on Magnild to get in the backfields over here. This positioning is decent over here. If I was Jeff personally, I probably would have been trying to go after these Tormentor troops, but I just know how fragile they are. So yeah, but Jeff did kill the um, the butcher, and which was unexpected, but it does put him in a position now to where he chose to just continue looking the way he was. There's no way he was not going to get flanked, I believe, if he didn't. Well, he could have potentially positioned to look towards like the trees here, but anyway, he wanted a good line of sight, I think, so he looked that way. Um, yeah, and then he picks up the horde here. So we were looking at this, with the hill and everything. It's a little obscure, but essentially we came to the conclusion that this horde of butchers, uh, it was a front charge from the Soul Flare unit here, but it was a flank charge from the Tormentor troop. And Jeff definitely couldn't withstand that, so he had to run the Draugr forward in order to allow for reforms here to avoid that flank. But he kept it in such a way that it's all front charges all around. So, yeah, good to go. But and then yeah, pass it over to me. So this is my turn here, and you'll see the first thing I'm looking at is that in the front, and we don't have a direct overview up down, but it was definitely in the flank here by a good half an inch, if not more. So let's see here, and then yeah, so I position them in there. And then I double charge the Thane. My thought with that is the Dread Fiend's tall enough. I'm going to be blocking the Thane's line of sight, so he can't do a nimble charge around here. And this is Helm of the Drunken Ram unit into the flank of Krufnir, so with Dread, so I'm math wise that should be enough because 24 attacks, it should be 18 hits. It should be 15 wounds. There's Dread, so that's more than Snakes at that point. So and then on the right, because I have Krufnir and this lockdown here, and the Fallen aren't looking, it's time for us to break out and start contributing. So um, the charge into Krufnir is a good. It's good to remove him, but obviously I'm getting countercharged by this unit of Fallen. So that's it's not an ideal trade. The Helm of the Drunken Ram unit's a very valuable piece for me in this game. So we're going to look and position in such a way that we can hopefully prevent that Fallen from charging me. And you'll see that as we kind of move forward. On the left, I decide let's remove the unit strength. That is our goal here. So we're gonna go and do that. And then in the shooting, we see Soul Flares. They have Wind Blast. Magnild is about a turn too late to stop us with that. So we're gonna Wind Blast this horde to start by a couple inches there. And then now that opens up a line of sight with this one. And I think it gets like 4 or 5 inches there. It should put me out of line of sight, front arc, all the good stuff. And now that Horde of Fallen is not doing anything when I assume that I'm going to kill Krufnir. He does have a unit here. what's called that I'm trying to wind blast as well. If I got like 4 inches, I think I might have gotten it out of charge range, and then this yeah, this unit's going to be an absolute menace. But nope, a little short. That's perfectly fine though. We got the fallen, which is what we wanted. So I do then wind blast his regiment, which pushes his leader point off the hill. So that Hearthguard unit will not be able to charge anything for next turn, which is a big deal. That's one turn that I've bought myself basically. So all right, so combat. We see that Krufnir did die from the flank. I'm looking at my angles and everything. Krufnir's on a 50, so I'm able to just simply pivot 90 degrees, look straight this way, which in the end I believe is the best result. I do a few wounds here, but don't waver the character. And then something I didn't talk about in my movement, you'll see some odd movements around the right hand flank when it comes to Magnild. We're just avoiding Magnild from getting line of sight into these leapers. Magnild can charge anything else in my mind, just not the leapers, please. So that's why I'm positioned in the way I am. I'm using the height of the soul flares to stop Magnild from getting the easy kill. I want to get some value out of that troop before it dies. Um, and yeah, on the left, we kill the regiment. I back up with the Dread Fiend, and then I backed up 3 inches, which was beneficial because when I killed the horde or the regiment with my horde, I look and I'm able to back them up as well and not expose the flank of my Dread Fiend. My Dread Fiend's just a hair behind the horde in the end positioning here. So yeah, that is where my turn 3 ends. So we are back in this. The right hand flank is not as threatening as before. We've controlled the fallen this turn. We've controlled one of uh, the Frostfang characters, and we are Magnild's going to get something, but she's not getting the thing I don't want her to get. So we're in a good spot at the moment here. Currently, we just need to keep the pressure on, keep fighting going. So uh, Jeff realizes that he's on a clock. He needs to kill my stuff, so he starts going in. He commits, which is absolutely what he needs to do here. So he was looking at if he could do a withdraw and everything. I'm trying to tell him, nope, you can't withdraw. My unit's there. You can't end an inch away from me on a withdraw. So he decides to countercharge the butcher in the end. To do the charges over here. Magno comes in there. He goes after the Reaper troop, which was doomed to die. But I felt I needed the Reaper troop and the amount of attacks to kill the regiment. Again, it's not ideal trade points wise, but unit strength wise, I killed unit strength and I'm sacrificing one. So, but obviously we lost a horde before that, so we're down in the trades. And then over here, Jeff leads the regiment behind, identifying that, hey, I want something to control this zone back here because, well, I have to go on Adam's side of the board for everything else. And then he takes a hinder flank with the character and a front charge here. And then he charges the Dreadfiend as well with his character. So that is where it all ends up. Um, Jeff and I are trying to speed through quickly. We're on 2 times speed here, so but we're also very conscious of our clocks and understand the more clock we have at the end, the less likely we are to make mistakes. So my turn here, and this is going to be crucial. A big call out is, Jeff rolled well to kill the butcher, but he rolled equally as bad with his Magnild back here. She only did 2 wounds to the regiment of Soul Flares, but he did roll the 11 to waver me. So bad attacks, but good nerve. This is actually still pretty good for me though, because my Portal of Despair, which has Radiance of Life, is in range of all the units that took damage over here. So we're just going to slowly grind, slowly take advantage of it. So effectively, the 2 wounds he did is only one. We're basically at full strength. Just gotta hope he doesn't waver us next turn, and hopefully we can contribute a little bit. So again, avoiding Magnild's charge into this troop in particular. We take the troop up here. They're gonna threaten the flanks over here. These guys are, effectively locked in. There's no, can't see over top of this guy, and there's really no good way around the horde into this unit currently. And hopefully we'll be able to move that unit anyway. But yeah, and then Jeff takes the character in here. This is already my turn. We are going fast, so yeah. But yeah, Jeff did the combats. He didn't kill anything across the board this turn. Oh, he killed the troop. But so on my turn here, I look at this and I say, well, a nimble fallen horde is a problem when it can do nimble charge shenanigans, which I have several units on a hill, so it will be able to see. So we block that off with our, our Mind Screeches turn chaff. So one Mind Screech is charged, the other one flies into his flank, so that way he can't effectively, he can't withdraw and see me. And then he can't get around to kill any of this. He does have withdraw to go to the left, but we're blocking him from the side that I feel like we have an advantage on now. So we move the Tormentor troop up. We countercharge, Radiance, all the good stuff. This unit is actually right here. And then I look at my options over here. Main thing I want to do is block this character from doing nimble charges into any of my units in the back. Otherwise, I just want to delay because he has 3 full hammers here looking down on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of mine, um, that are not built to really kill hammers. Like I could maybe kill one of them, but yeah. So my thought is just delay over here. I have a good amount of unit strength still, so he's gonna have to continue to pressure and to kill this. And this is bottom of 4, I believe. So is that right? 4. No, maybe this is top of 4 or 3, bottom 3. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is bottom 4. So, oh look, they have it on the screen up here. You guys can't see it, but they have it here. All right. So anyway, I'm looking. I'm seeing. Well, I'm losing the left flank. It's almost guaranteed here. Can I get out of dodge? And then I realize, oh, if I move this Tormentor troop over here, it gives an out for his fallen. And so in the end, that's not going to happen. So we're going to just maintain the placement over here. Maybe the troop can do some jumping charges later, or just jump out and contribute its unit strength later. So yeah, so pretty straightforward for my turn. We go to shooting. There is none because I've moved those guys, so it's just all into the combats. Um, so I pick up the Dreadfiend first, or not Dreadfiend. My Dreadfiend picks up his unit first. I overrun the Dreadfiend in such a way, and then I turn the Butcher to look this way because I measured. We're within 12 inches of this unit here, and we're in the flank currently. So that was my thought. Is well, I can go lock this up, right? I charge or countercharge here, and I do several wounds, and I actually get a waiver onto his troll here, which is big. They don't have any waiver mitigation, and I'm sitting on the hill, and he's not, so I can see over top next turn, and I can fly next turn. So this fallen unit is, for all intents and purposes, stuck and not able to get out of that sight and charge the next turn. So that is, a big win for me. There is nothing that Jeff has that can stop this unit from doing that, because I believe Magnild's even out of 14 inches. So, but here we go. Jeff is doing his thing over here. He's coming in. Um, Yeah, again, just trying to do things accurately, but in a quick manner because we are both looking at clock stuff. So I think the key things is Jeff is just trying to punch through this wall still. He was looking at, does Magnild have something? No. He was looking at, does this have something? Well, no, because this troop is even blocking you off now. He could maybe nimble charge into the flank, withdraw and charge into the flank of this unit here, but no. And then Jeff was looking at this, and I was like, hey, can't do that. Once you withdraw, you can't advance forward. And if you even did that, you withdrew, you come within an inch of me again. That's a no no. So, yeah. So Jeff is just looking at all of his options here, trying to do the best that he can. The Fallen killed a Butcher Flesh Ripper who's a 13-15 defense 5. They, should be able to one shot a Mind Screech in that if that was the case, right? So, if you kill him, you turn to face, get a better result. All's good. But Jeff goes, does his combats, and the only thing that dies is the horde on the left. The Dread Fiend is wavered, I believe. He got me up to 10 wounds, but they are 14, 16, so he missed the 6 twice. Crucially, he does not waver this Soul Flare unit this turn. So that does give me options here. So immediately, what I'm gonna do is he does waiver the Soul Flare or the Mind Screech as well. So big thing for me, I'm looking is I want the centers, I want the left, I want the right. At this point, these 4 zones are my win condition right now. And so I'm going to clean up everything I can there. But coming off the hill, take the flank. I took the front and flank charge, Dread Fiend and such. And then that Tormentor troop was in the flank of this unit, so that is where they're going. Not going to fight Magnild, that's for damn sure. So we just end up walking away. And yeah, making Magnild annoyed with us. Before we walked away, we countercharged, so Radiance another wound. So at this point, I believe I have 4 wounds on my unit because Jeff did 4 more this last turn, and a Radiance of Life, which would have brought me up to 5, and a Radiance of Life brought me down to 4. So, yeah. So at this point, I see the win condition, right? We have the zones we want. I'm also going to force him to commit these guys into this bottom left zone. Uh, and right now, I am just simply looking at a way to get my most unit strength, which is unit strength 2 Soul Flares, into the game and contribute at the end. Because again, this is bottom of 5, so I just need to last until next turn, and then I can answer anything anywhere Jeff does. So one thing I want to do is prevent Jeff from getting big unit strength units into the center zones that I want to control. Now this dot is roughly where the breakoff is for the zone. Um, we measure it towards the end here, but that was roughly my guesstimate as well. So, yeah. So the butcher does his job off the hill, kills, overruns, and then I reform. This reform, I think, could have been a little better. I want to look probably more towards the center of the board. Right now, I'm looking towards the corner. And again, I only have one more turn guaranteed here before the game ends. So I don't think if I look directly to the center that was a short enough distance to guarantee they get in there. But yeah, I kill with the tormentors onto his character, eliminates all the inspiring over here, and then this combat goes well for me also. Overrun the Dread Fiend, reform these guys. I pick up the wrong unit because I had blank base for those guys. I noticed it immediately, so my bad there. But yeah, so that Soul Flare unit is still alive. That could have been bad if I just pick up a Soul Flare unit that never actually died at the end of the game here. So um, yeah, so at this point, Jeff is just trying to clean up as much stuff as he can, trying to kill this, all that. Yes, yes. This snow troll is looking towards the right hand side, by the way. So my Mind Screech had withdrawn an inch and then looked towards the center. So it's going to be a front charge. It's going to be hindered, but I'm at 7 wounds already. In the end, that's what Jeff is going to ultimately take. He's looking at, can I run away? Can I get over here? Can I use this 1 unit strength to help over here so I can use these 3 unit strengths to go towards the center? Um, in the end, his 90-degree pivot, he's going to hit terrain. He's hitting terrain, so he can only go this way towards the center and right side of the board at the double. Uh, Anything else, this is turn, top of 6, so he can't get to the left hand side the way it's currently working. So Jeff does the combat again here. He starts rolling for combat, and then we realize, hey, I know you said you want to do this. Let's actually move it. Um, so yeah, we move that, and then he killed the Soul Flare. Which, looking at this, because I was wavered last turn, his counter charge would have taken him over, but yeah, something we both overlooked at the time. And he could have just charged, and it would have been a flank charge even. But I was at 10 wounds, so this pivot here and positioning. Fortunately, just seeing this for the first time here, but it's actually probably slightly off where it's supposed to be. But we're trying to agree on where it is. In the end, I concede yes. I believe you can pivot to get out of my front arc. But in order to stay out of the front arc, I think it leaves some flanks for specifically the Soul Flares and the Dread Fiend here. So, and he's in a position now as if he had charged me. So, um, yeah, these are likely off a little bit, but we were both under time pressure. We're doing the best we can given the situation. So yeah, out of charge range or out of front arc to charge with my Soul Flare unit, but the other units can charge that horde. So he kills the Tormentor troop, no problem. He repositions. He's then fighting the regiment now. He rolls exceptionally bad here. Um, but yeah, so that is, and then he fights with Magnild, and he gets him up to like 8 wounds or something. So only needs a 5 to waver, I think, but he failed to waver. So that was unfortunate. He got a good nerve roll early on in that engagement, a bad one late. Just sucks in the end. But he does pick up the Mind Screech with the hindered guy. So my turn. I take the easy ones, which is the flank charge there, double flank charge here. Um, I then use this Tormentor troop to control the top right. And then right now, if I win, I believe if I wind blast this unit, it's guaranteed not in the top center. So I do the wind blasting, I get them there, and then I have a second wind blast in place, and I get them way back. So they are definitely in the top left here. So currently, I even without this unit's in the center. Even without killing that unit, I control the center, the right, and the center. So that was mainly what I was looking for here in this turn 6. The rest of these rolls are just gravy on top to finish off some units. So we pick up that horde. I position where my Dread Fiend looks for the charge, and then I stay put. And I got a waiver over here. I also Snake Eyes this unit, I think, because yeah, flank there. Oh, but yep. So we roll. We get a turn 7. We are both like 2 minutes left, roughly, in the turn 7. So Actually, I don't think I get a Snake Eyes. I think I get a waiver, but it was, flank. So, yeah. So he moves it back, so it's in the top center. He charges the Dread Fiend. He charges the flank of the Soul Flares here, so it's going to be a good amount of unit strength. Um, so he kills the Dread Fiend, he sidesteps, and yeah, roughly right here. So they are a good 3 or 4 inches into that top center currently. Um, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. He kills the regiment, he kills that regiment, he rolls his last combat here, and he clocks turnover. So, right here in the game, so currently, I have the bottom left because he only has 1 unit strength with this unit, and I have two. So this is bottom 7. So nothing can change after this. It's all my moves to try and get the win, right? So I have the bottom left locked down, guaranteed. I have the top right with the one tormentor troop. I have the bottom right, no matter how that combat goes. Currently, Jeff has 4 unit strength in the top center and 3 unit strength in the bottom center. So he is controlling those. So I'm currently losing because Jeff has 1, 2, 3, 4, because bottom center for him is worth 2. And I only have 1, 2, 3. So I need to, bring that back in one way or another. Um, and so my movements initially start off by just looking, can I position to go push that? What are my options with the Soul Flare unit, right? Um, so then I see, this horde needs to do something, right? So I say, oh, let's go back just a hair. But look, it's like, it's out of, it's not in range. And then the center point being over here and pivot and move, it's not going to get into the center. And then I haven't looked if it moves at the double, but I was like, okay, well, our leader point's right on the hill right here. And there's Magnild. Let's see. She is. That's a blurry one. But she's within range to charge if I get the wild charge and I got the max move. So I got it. I have a minute and 15 seconds left at this point. So I got the roll. I, show the distance and then I pick up and move the unit. Jeff was questioning whether my leader point was or wasn't on the hill there. From my side of the board here, it looked fairly clear. From the top down, it actually is definitely a little bit more unclear. But my when I had moved, my intent was to have them to be able to see something. It doesn't make sense for them to be, touching the hill but not the leader point. So that was, in the end, what happened. I picked up the unit. Jeff wanted to inspect it a little bit more closely, but I unfortunately I didn't mark the unit. I was under a time crunch. I thought he was on the same page when I said, yep, I'm in range. I rolled my wild charge. That's that right there. So I felt a little bit bad because Jeff was honestly, not sure if my leader point was on, and wanted to be sure, wanted to double check that, which I 100% get. It matters, right? So, uh, yeah, I'm at fault for moving the units before any objections were made. I felt the pressure of the time currently, so but still need to play as cleanly as possible here. Um, in the end, though, I can't move it back. I can't guarantee. I can't put Jeff's mind at ease with that. But I did, explain or show that, well, if its leader point wasn't on the hill, if I wasn't able to complete this charge for whatever reason, then my movement's pretty simple. I actually fly the Mind Screech here into, because it's looking at this. It wind blasted last turn, so it just flies across into the bottom center. So then I have 3 unit strength to his 3 unit strength here in the bottom center. So that's a push. And then he only has 2 points, and I have one, two, three. So in the end, it was there was a win, even if I didn't have this particular charge. But uh, I appreciate Jeff for expressing his concern with that. And I feel bad that I definitely either should have had the unit marked. I should have more time on my clock to have my opponent agree before I pick up and move. But at this point, I'm not looking for anything extra. I'm just looking. I'm like, I win the scenario is in my mind because something I didn't mention early on, but going into this game, I was ahead of second and third place, who were tied by 4 points. So in my mind, if I get a win, a 14-point win, then I likely win the event because somebody has to get a 19-point win to jump me, and I felt like that was not going to be likely. Um, Given that they're playing against Travis Tim on table 2. So, but this is where the game ends. Um, I ended up rolling. Didn't matter for attrition, but I killed the character in the bottom right, and that was that. So I was also looking, afterwards. I think if I was going for maximum amount of points, what I could probably have done is turned this unit to look at these guys, move this guy down a little bit to be in the front arc, and then just done wind blast, and push this guy back into the top left, and then I push the top center, 1 to 1 at that point. So he would have 1 point to my 1, 2, 3, 4 points. But I think the way the point breaks work, that's going to be the same outcome for what's it called, for positive scenario points as it was here, because right now it's 2 to 4. So so yeah, one scenario 2 to 4. I think I was down 100 attrition points in the end. I believe the break point is 400 or so. So that Thane wasn't a huge make or break. Um, yeah, turn 6, I was much more comfortable. Turn 7, it was a scramble to find the win with the puzzle. So, but yeah, just a great game. I think that Jeff is a great player. His list is extremely good. He pilots it very well. I think that a big or a key factor to this overall win was the fact that I played to my strengths, and I feel like I played to them extremely well. Um, I wasn't looking for unnecessary combats. It was very much focused on what is the way I win this game and how to execute that. So, again, identifying strengths before the game is a key factor that I typically do, and I guess I just don't talk about as much. I try to tell you about my game plan going in, but how did I discern that's going to be my winning game plan, right? So identifying, understanding your army, as fully as you can, and then identifying strengths and weaknesses of your opponent's lists, and when it comes to the scenario and terrain, and then being able to have a plan for victory going from that knowledge. So a lot of it comes with play and practice. I feel like I can say without a doubt I understand my Night Stalker army better than anybody else will be able to understand my Night Stalker army. Um, I think also a big strength comes from understanding opponents' lists, at least to a level of knowing where I excel in the matchup and where I will be weak. So something that, hopefully the more everybody plays and everybody watches, the more you will identify those things and see patterns happen over and over again. In this scenario, when I take this army, I do well against these types of lists, and dissecting that and retaining it for future games. So, um, but yeah, I appreciate you guys. This one obviously was a little long. I do want to end off on the couple photos. So for those that haven't seen, that was my trophy from Masters. So I'm very very happy with it. It is. I can get it over my head, but it gets a little tighter around the top. So what happens is it like crunches up against my head up top here, and so the eye slits are like on my forehead. Um, it fits my kid much better. But it's a really awesome something that I haven't seen any other event do something like this. So really appreciate the West Coast guys for having such great prizes and awards. Um, and then I do want to call out the victory dinner. This is actually a throwback from when Seattle Masters, where I got taken out for a crab dinner, seafood dinner in Seattle. Oh, great. So I had a steak and shrimp. The shrimp are already gone, but recreated that photo that night. So was very very lucky to have some great friends to hang out with and eat with and celebrate the win. So very very happy, overjoyed. And then this is just a little bit of close up. I didn't get a full picture, but the trophy is sitting up there next to the Seattle Masters win. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys tonight. Not going to talk at you anymore. I appreciate everybody that stuck around for this long episode. I do hope that it helps some players. Um, and yeah, let me know comments, feedback, anything like that. I always try to do my best to help people learn and excel in their gameplay, because it's fun to watch battle reports, but it's also, I think, beneficial to have a takeaway from those battle reports as well. So, yeah, just let me know what you guys want to see. I do have many ideas of not Nightstalker things in the near future, but Crossroads is coming up, so Nightstalkers might make a comeback for those. We'll see once, but nothing's set yet. Yeah, I appreciate you all, and we will catch you on the next one.